Now, now listen to this. This is Genesis 4-16. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod, on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife. Now, where the hell did she come from?
Who?
Mrs. Cain. Cain's wife. If in the beginning there were just Cain and Abel and Adam and Eve, where did this extra woman come from? Did you ever stop to think about that?
No, sir. I leave the agnostics to hunt for her.
Never bothered you?
Never bothered me.
Never tried to find out?
No.
You figure somebody else pulled another creation over the next county somewhere?
The Bible satisfies me. It is enough.
It frightens me to think of the state of learning in the world if everybody had your driving curiosity. Now, this book goes into a lot of begats. And Arphaxad begat Selah, and Selah begat Eber, and so on and so on and so on. Now, are these pretty important people?
They are the generations of the holy men and women of the Bible.
How'd they go about all this begetting?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, did they begat in much the same way as folks get themselves begat today?
The process is about the same. I don't think your scientists have improved it any.
In other words, all of these folks were conceived and brought forth by the normal biological function known as sex. What do you think of sex, Colonel Brady?
In what spirit is this question asked?
Well, I'm not asking you what you think of sex as a father, or as a husband, or even as a presidential candidate. You're up here as an expert on the Bible. What is the biblical evaluation of sex?
It is considered original sin.
And all these holy people got themselves begat through original sin? Well, all that sin and make them any less holy?
Your Honor, where is this leading us? What has it got to do with the state versus Bertram Cates?
Colonel Drummond, the court must be satisfied that this line of questioning has some bearing on the case.
You've ruled out all of my witnesses. You must allow me to examine the one witness you've left to me in my own way.
Your Honor, I am willing to sit here and endure Mr. Drummond's sneering and his disrespect, for he is pleading the case of the prosecution by his contempt for all that is holy.
I object, I object, I object.
On what grounds? Is it possible that something is holy to the celebrated agnostic?
Yes. The individual human mind. In a child's power to master the multiplication table, there is more sanctity than in all your shouted amens and holy holies and hosannas. An idea is a greater monument than a cathedral. And the advance of man's knowledge is a greater miracle than all the sticks turned to snakes or the parting of the waters. But now, are we to forego all this progress because Mr. Brady now frightens us with a fable? Gentlemen, progress has never been a bargain. You have to pay for it. Sometimes I think there's a man who sits behind a counter and says, all right, you can have a telephone, but you lose privacy and the charm of distance. Madam, you may vote, but at a price. You lose the right to retreat behind the powder puff or your petticoat. Mister, you may conquer the air, but the birds will lose their wonder, and the clouds will smell of gasoline. Darwin took us forward to a hilltop, from where we could look back and see the way from which we came. But for this insight and for this knowledge, we must abandon our faith in the pleasant poetry of Genesis.
We must not abandon faith. Faith is the most important thing.
Then why did God plague us with the power to think? Mr. Brady, why do you deny the one faculty of man that raises him above the other creatures of the earth? The power of his brain to reason. What other merit have we The elephant is larger, the horse is swifter and stronger, the butterfly is far more beautiful, the mosquito is more prolific, even the simple sponge is more durable. What does a sponge think?
I don't know. I am a man, not a sponge.
What do you think a sponge thinks?
If the Lord wishes a sponge to think, it thinks.
Do you think a man should have the same privilege as a sponge?
Of course.
This man wishes to be accorded the same privilege as a sponge. He wishes to think.